So the next song is Last Night in Dubai. And I don't think it's a too well-known fact, but I'm involved with a ministry called Team Faith. Pastor Brian O'Rourke started Team Faith, I think it's about 25 years ago now, 25 years ago. And he has a ministry to extreme sport events. We've done ministry chaplaincy and on-site ministry at X Games, Dew Tour. We do Supercross Futures, Arena Cross, the World Watercraft Tour, and then I do a lot of local ministry here at Stadium Motocross Series right here in Illinois. But actually, one of the riders on Team Faith, we also have a Supercross team, and we have a freestyle motocross team. Kevin Johnson from Team Faith, one of my best buds with Brian O. Won X Games gold in, I believe, 2008, 2009. And just an amazing young man. Is one of my partners actually in World Light Music Group. But one of the freestyle riders, Greg Hartman, was on our Team Faith team and was competing in the Mountain Dew Action Sports Tour in Cleveland. Well, he under-rotated a backflip at Dew Tour in Cleveland and was really injured badly. I won't get into the details, but I spent a few days in the hospital with him. And man, I never thought the guy would ride again. And he got out of intensive care. He went home. He rehabbed. Well, I heard a few, the next year we stayed in touch a little bit, but then I heard the next year he was going to X Games in Dubai. And I was like, wow, man. I said, so dude, you're going? He goes, yeah. And so he went. And he wound up winning X Games gold medal at X Games in Dubai. And then came back. I was really glad for him. Everybody was. Who knows Greg? He's just a sweetheart. He's just a great Christian, great rider. Well, then shortly thereafter that, he got injured again and had to stop riding. And Last Night in Dubai is inspired by Greg Hartman and by a number of other extreme sport athletes that I know, near dear friends of mine. Kevin Johnson, Nate Adams, Ronnie Feist, Brian Deegan, Twitch. Just a bunch of these guys are friends of mine, and I've ministered and pastored them over the years. Of course, Kevin Johnson, like I said, and the injuries that they go through, and the hardship that they go through of training, rehabbing. My dear friend Nate Adams is even going through some physical challenges now, years and years after an injury to his shoulder. But the other side of it is, I began to think about Greg Hartman and what he went through really had all these guys connected to it, even pro racers like Greg Albertine and Kelly Smith and Gavin Graysick and other friends of mine. How they go through these injuries and you never know what injury is going to be career-ending. And certainly that's true in life. You never know. You can walk across the street, a car accident. A dear friend of mine, Mike Sands, his son was in a head-on collision last year and almost killed. The other person in the accident was killed instantly. But you never know what's going to happen to your life. A gigantic transition or change, or your life will be over. Someone will be taken from you. But the song Last Night in Dubai is about responding to the brevity of life. No man knows his time, the Bible says. But it's also about being in the moment, the moments that you have with the people that you're there with. And I always thought about Greg Hartman. He only won one gold medal in X Games. That was the pinnacle of his career. Everything he worked for as a rider, as a Christian, was to go and to compete in X Games, and he won X Games gold. How differently would he have handled himself if he knew that was going to be the last time he was going to win X Games gold in Dubai, the last time he was going to compete, because soon after he was going to be injured and never compete again? How would he have slowed things down and smelled the roses or smelled the coffee, as it were? How differently would he have handled himself with his relationships would he have stopped and really drunk in what God was doing? Being on the podium, receiving the gold medal, how much differently would he have handled himself? And how much differently should we handle ourselves, knowing that these thresholds are all around our life? It's about being in the moment. It's about stewarding life's defeats as well as stewarding life's victories and lessons, and making the most of every single day, every single opportunity, every single provision that God provides. So the opening line is, we flew all night to make the games. And, you know, last night in Dubai is not like flying to Indianapolis or Dallas. You got to fly all night to get to Dubai. So we flew all night to make the games, but now I'm back. And that just identifies Greg getting through an injury and coming back and being ready to go. It wasn't long ago, and I was down in flames, you know, and, you know, Greg, like many of these athletes in my life, in extreme sports, in all sports, they go through injuries and they're down for the count, or they're down for a little while anyways. And then the bridge says, I want to see what I can do. Show the world what it's like to trust in you. And I know Greg was trusting the Lord and believing that God was going to give him the strength to compete and be his best. And his best was good enough to win X Games gold in Dubai that year. And he says, the chorus kind of flashes into hopefully a healthy heart and a healthy perspective that we can have as we get through something. And he says, if I knew then what I know, I'd take some time. You know, there's an adage, if I knew then what I know now, but it's kind of a play on that adage. If I knew then what I know, I'd take some time. I'd burn your marks of love inside my mind. I cannot change what's been done before tonight. Just hold on tight to my last night in Dubai. And so it's about being in the moment. It's about taking some time to really drink in the people and the settings and the places that God, the Lord, you know, David said, my times are in your hands. Psalms say, Lord, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Jeff, one thing that also contributes to these lyrics was when my mom, before my mom got to go be with the Lord through cancer in '91, our youngest son Michael was just born. The summer before the summer she got to go be with the Lord, so Michael was young, and my mom got to hold him, and you know, we knew she was battling cancer and she was having treatments and stuff like that. But I remembered after she got to go be with the Lord, I remember seeing there was something unique about the way she would just hold my kids, Stephen and Asheray and Michael. Lauren was alive but in gestation, because we had a lot of kids real fast there. But Michael was like 6 months old, and she would just hold him and just like be drinking him in her soul, like just holding her grandson and not knowing what was ahead. My mom was an on-fire Christian, and the Lord had whispered to her that God was going to use this sickness to bring her home. She even prepared my dad, prepared my wife, prepared us. She knew that this wasn't it. That she was going to get to go home and be with the Lord. But as a result, she was drinking in the people in her life. So my mom really was the first impetus for the last night in Dubai messaging. She was living her last night in Dubai, as it were, those months with all of us, with my kids and me and my wife Rhonda, who got to spend my mom's last night awake was with my wife. And what a beautiful thing. My girl, my soulmate, got to be with my mommy on her last night awake and lucid and aware. And that's just a dear thing to me. But, you know, she was drinking it in, man. My mom was drinking it in. And I hope Greg Hartman drunk in his last night in Dubai. And he's a godly man. And I think it addresses the recklessness that we have in life. Like, oh man, I'm going to live forever. We just kind of put off. Ecclesiastes says it's better to go to a funeral than to a birthday party, for this is the end of every man, and the living take it to heart. Man, we're going to cross this line through death and be with the Lord and start our eternity, the big life, and we need to be ready. But that's why the second verse says, I've missed so much throughout my days, I can't see. Now it's time to shine and walk in all your ways. I want to steward the life that God has given me and make every season count. Being 60 this year, bro, the clock is running on me, man. I want to squeeze out every drop I have for the Lord and for the people in my life. And it's time to shine and walk in all his ways. And the bridge says, they need to see what you can do. Show the world what it's like to trust in you. If I knew then what I know, I'd take some time. Burn your marks of love inside my mind. That's what faith does. God takes me through stuff today because he knows what I'm going to go through tomorrow. And I want to have that registered. I want to have God's faithfulness and his love burned deep inside my mind, my psyche, my soul. I cannot change what's been done before tonight. I'm going to just hold on tight to my last night in Dubai. So just the urgency of living in the moment, making every moment count for the Lord. Don't be so future driven that you forget to be in the now. Don't be dragged and turned around by your past. Be in the moment with your people and be in the moment so that you can make your life count for the Lord's story, for his purpose and design and desire for our lives. Last night in Dubai, and I really love the that key, that style, and that sort of harmonic minor that Eric does the sitar in the beginning, that sort of Mideastern Arabian vibe in it. We enjoyed the heck out of that, man, and Eric just absolutely crushed it. And with the Dubai, the city Dubai being mentioned in the title, I was more than thrilled with how that came across. It's tough, but it has that Mideastern vibe to it that Eric just. We just started letting the ideas fly, man. What a God storm! What an amazing storm of an inertia of ideas and creativity, and I hope it captures the essence of Greg Hartman's journey to Dubai. And hooks people in because it is such a unique and different sound for me, for us. But hopefully it brings people into, God's heart to redeem the time, for the days are evil, to make the most of every second of our lives.
And that's good. That's the kind of stuff, and then that's a lot of background that people probably don't know. I know in the album you have a little bit of pieces of things about the songs, but yeah, that knowing the whole background story, that was really nice, because I don't know how many people would have picked up on what that song was about. Some of the songs are a little more obvious, but that's great, sharing your heart and sharing a story that can connect us with someone who's close to you.
Amen, man. And our stories should host his story. Our story should lead people to his story, the Lord's story, his saving story of the cross and the resurrection, his amazing life. And so, I love that too, bro. And I'm so glad you mentioned it, because everyone's got a story that can host his story, and our story matters, man. That's my heart. Like, okay, so I'm never going to go to Dubai and compete in X Games like Greg Hartman did. But I know him. I got to minister to him. I got to be with in intensive care in Cleveland, just doing my little part. But that connected me to his story. And now this song that Eric and I did, and the guys can connect other people to his story that will hopefully unfold the Lord's story. Thank you for saying that, man. That's cool.
Yeah, that was, that's the neat kind of insight. Like I say, sometimes you read a song and you don't even know, because and some artists write songs to be a little more nebulous so that it can speak to other people. But then there are some times where there's a story behind the song and you don't always know if you're not close to that artist. And so, and to hear more than what you've mentioned in the liner notes here is beneficial, because we got, you know, a little more look into what was going on in your mind and behind these lyrics. So yeah, it makes the song a lot more, you know, you can connect with it a lot more. So really appreciate
Cool.
that.
That's cool, man.